Welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel. Dan Fates. I'm Jenna Cottrell, Mike Catalano with a veteran birthday off. We'll get into
Wish
that.
Wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the big cat. But let's talk about the Bills. They're heading to Tennessee, another primetime game, Monday Night Football. Buffalo coming off that huge win against the Chiefs. What do you make of how this team is heading into Tennessee? Because there's a lot of momentum that will be with this team. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to sound negative, but no. I just thought of this. Are they peaking too early? Like, can we have that conversation, or when do we have that conversation? Because they played nearly flawless in Kansas City. I think they just kind of did exactly what they wanted to do. They made the Kansas City Chiefs, which they made them look average. They made Patrick Mahomes look average. They just dominated.
Bad. The defense looked bad.
Yeah, no, I knew the Kansas City defense was bad. They were worse than I expected. Josh, just such a clutch game, such a, stepping stone game, another game to put him on the map where you go head to head against Mahomes and just dominate that game, not only with his arm, but with his legs, pretty much whatever he wanted to do. So heading into this Monday night matchup, look, teams, it's a week-to-week league. And like I said, I was on the sideline, Jenna. Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Jordan Poyer were dancing. I know that it was, just a week 5 win, but it was a big week 5 win. And what I loved about it was by the time the players got to the podium, it was kind of over. Like the excitement. Like, there's nothing wrong. And I know Mike Catalana was asking a bunch of times too in the post game going, can you understand that it's just one win, but it's a massive win at the same time? And they were all kind of like, yeah, it is, it's just another game. But it's like their reaction of them running off the field at Arrowhead was different than just a week 5 win of last season.
Absolutely. No, and you could feel that. And like that video that you have of the dancing and just seeing all the players run off the field, like also seeing the smack talk that they got into with the other teams, like Chiefs fans.
Breaking. Chiefs and Bills don't like each other. I don't know if you guys knew that, but yeah.
I know. Seriously.
Not fans.
That is some breaking news right there. But no, like there's just something like that where it's a different feel. It looked like a different feel because it was. But I think it's important that the team had that realization that it is week 5. Like this team has those expectations of what they want to do and where they want to go. But at the same point, I feel like it's something that like the NFL is such a humbling league.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to take every opponent so seriously. And we were talking about it off air, but I think it's actually really important that the Bills lost against the Titans last season, because I think coming in, it not to say that, look, this game is right before the bye. They're coming off an emotional win. This is a Titans team that we know has talent. Obviously, Derrick Henry is playing like Derrick Henry, but at the same point, their record isn't exactly what we thought it would be. So I think it's actually really important that they had that loss last season, that blowout loss, that embarrassing loss, because I think that gives the like if I'm Sean McDermott, I'm using that and I'm playing that and I'm showing the guys like you got blown out and it wasn't even close. And I'm using that as motivation because they need to get up for a game like this. They do.
And it's compartmentalizing the game against the Chiefs and showing that this is a team that can turn the page and move on in a good way. Like we've seen that before. And like I said, it is not easy. I know teams will say it all the time that you got to get up for every game. It's not easy. It is not easy to get up to play the Jets. It is easy to get up to play the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football. That's easy. Now, it's staying up there. It's hitting the refresh button and staying up there again. Look, we saw earlier this year, the St. Louis Rams, the LA Rams beat Tom Brady and the Bucks and then lost the following week to the Arizona Cardinals, who are also undefeated, like a good team. Like going and playing back-to-back teams, it takes something out of you. And so it's that understanding of what, I thought Deion Dawkins had a best understanding after the game, just saying like this isn't our first big win in primetime. Like it was kind of like, we've been here before. And I think that's big to go up again, another divisional opponent, a team where they just played so poorly last year. Going back and looking at it, Josh Allen was just not very good. They had 3 turnovers, didn't force a turnover. Obviously, the stiff arm is what is remembered. But just kind of being able to, the Bills are now going to be probably minus the Bucks favored in every game they go into from here on out.
I would imagine.
And so how do you keep, again, stacking days on and all those things, all those cliches that Sean McDermott has preached, just kind of keeping them going, because we're still only in October. Like, there is a lot of good football left to play. And they have always said last year they wanted to keep getting better towards the playoffs. And they were playing their best football in the playoffs. Yeah. Right now, they're playing some damn good football, Jenna.
Yeah. No, what's funny too is you talk about like not peaking too early and how important it is to continue to get better and not rest on your laurels. But I also think one of my takeaways from that game against the Chiefs was just how small a window really is in the NFL. Like, it truly, I mean, like, obviously the Chiefs went to 3 straight AFC championship games. They won a Super Bowl, all of that. They went to 2 Super Bowls. But at the same point, like, look at where this Chiefs team is now. And it's a little eye-opening, because when you have the talent that you do, and, players have alluded to this, there are guys that are getting up there on their roster in terms of the Bills, like Emmanuel Sanders. He's been phenomenal this season, but he talked about wanting to be on a beach next year drinking a beer. And, Jerry Hughes is a guy that's been with the team for a long time. Like, these veteran guys that are playmakers that have added. But I feel like for me, it was just like, wow, things change just so fast in the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it was a blueprint game by any means. The Bills did, though, was while they said these games are separate, they took what they had learned from the previous 2 losses last season. They evolved, and some of the things that stood out to me, the Bills didn't blitz once.
Yeah,
they didn't blitz one time on Sunday night, and still Patrick Mahomes looked like Josh Allen when he played the Chiefs in the playoffs. Constantly wanting to leave the pocket, constantly dancing around, constantly looking, in trouble, Jenna.
I wanted to add something, because we got to talk to Leslie Frazier this week, and he actually had a note on his game sheet. Essentially, he literally wrote, "Be patient," and I love that.
Yeah, and I was blown away, because I was also in Miami, and they blitzed lights out. They blitzed on 50% of their snaps, it seemed like, and knocked Tua and Jacoby Brissett all over the place. And that's what I've always – it was just – that's where I feel like this team has just evolved in that stance of being able to kind of come at you a bunch of different ways. And I know people have always been talking on the, like, comment, and subscribe here. But so many people have been saying, like, well, you need to be able to win a bunch of different ways. And I've kind of been, hey, do what you do. Like do one thing really well and just keep doing that. Jenna, on Sunday night, Brian Daboll and the Bills ran the ball more times than they threw the ball. That was a real thing. That's a real thing that happened. I was listening to the Scott Van Pelt podcast, and they talked about that, and I had to pull over to check the game box score. The Bills ran the ball 28 times. Josh threw 26 passes, and they dominated.
On the podcast too.
It blew my mind. Yeah. And as I'm a guy that wants Josh to throw it 50-something times, Jenna, it was a tough pill to swallow. But that just goes to show you what this team is evolving into. And guess what? Let Josh Allen run again. Let Josh cook. Like, keep the ball in his hands, because he absolutely, last year he threw the ball so well. You almost forget how good he can run it. He's so accurate. You almost just forget how much of a force he is running it.
Well, and just he opens up so much else when he runs, and he opens up so much for everyone else. That I think, and by having the run and keeping him running the football, you keep defenses honest. At the same point, like him hurdling and stuff like that, you love to see it, but you're also like, okay, all right, like settle down. You don't want to have your franchise guy who's worth $500 million out there doing that. But I understand how important it is and how useful it can be.
And Mike nailed it. We talked about what to do in this big game, and would Josh be too amped up, and that's happened before. And Mike said, like, maybe they do some designed runs early on to settle him in. And that's exactly what they did. Josh, on the opening drive, had the 3rd down run that converted the 1st down. That was a big gain. He then had another run inside the red zone, and then he had the touchdown run. And that just seemed like, I think deep down, that's the kind of backyard football that Josh, like, that's his, like, comfort zone. Yeah. Like, it's like with you eating pasta, Jenna. Like that's like, no matter what, that's where you're the most comfortable. I think that like Josh has learned, and he's evolved, and he's become such a more accurate passer than anybody could have imagined. But like Josh doing that just seems to settle him down. And Mike was exactly right. For him to get hit once or twice, maybe is just what he needs to calm him down.
I really think they talk about fighters being like that. Sometimes you got to get hit to kind of get your head out of it. And I think we've seen so many games where Josh is so much in his head, especially I think of like when he would face off against the Patriots early on in his career, you could tell he was thinking so much. But I think you're right. Like when he's free, he even said it. He's like, I play better ball when I'm looser, like when I'm relaxed. Some people
and not
like,
angry.
Yeah. What'd you say?
And he said he's tried to play football angry and it doesn't work. And so for him, he tries to stay mellow. And I think you saw it a couple times in the broadcast. I know somebody pointed out to me, I didn't catch it on camera, but he had a run in the fourth quarter where he got up and winked. Like when he's like having that level of fun.
Yeah.
And just one last thing is, again, we'll kind of look forward to the Tennessee game. We're pushing there. When the time I knew that this game was, way more than what we always talked about it. We said it was more than a game, right? We said it was more than a Week 5 matchup. He threw the final touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders after an amazing 12-play drive when the Chiefs had cut it to 11, made it a 2-score game. He marched down the field, and he comes by us in the cameras, and Emmanuel Sanders caught the quarter. And Josh goes to the fans. He looks right past all of our cameras and goes, bye, bye. And we all looked at one another and went like, oh, like that. Like, again, it was kind of like you think that there's monsters under your bed and your parents tell you, no, there's not a monster under your bed. But until you look under the bed and see there's nothing there, you're scared. And that just was the moment, like I said, because they asked Josh, like, when did you know this game would be different? Because it just seemed like they were so confident. And he goes, not until I took the final knee. He's like, honestly, he's like, and he's somewhat right with it's still Patrick Mahomes under their sideline. But I just thought that was one of those big moments where, we joke around about like, where does the championship DVD, where would it start? It may start with the Pittsburgh Steelers loss, but it could start with him saying bye. It could start there.
I feel like it would start with the AFC Championship loss.
Oh, go even back further.
We're going back further. That Steelers loss though is such an anomaly now. Like
it's gonna break all of our brains.
Yeah. But I do think it's what they needed early on to get humbled. But all right, let's turn the page to the Titans. What does stand out to you about this Tennessee team?
Derrick Henry. He's an animal. I mean, we saw what he did to Josh Norman. We've seen it. It's been played over and over again. Titan fans are still talking about it, even though it was a 5-yard gain. I think that got called back on a penalty anyway. Like, it meant nothing but everything at the same time. It was a perfect metaphor for how the Bills played that day. Penalties, just everything. Not a great showing. But like I said, this Titans team is banged up. Again, you're getting a team what seems like at a good time. Nashville, you have been there before for drafts. I was there in 2019, which was the Duke Williams touchdown catch for the game winner. Like, Nashville is not a home field advantage. It's not. And for where Arrowhead was 95% Chiefs fans, it's going to be 50-50 in Nashville. And like, that's nothing new to them. Like, they say that they get taken over 4 times a year because of teams getting to come here.
That would never happen at Highmark Stadium.
Well, we saw it the previous Monday night when Raiders fans, kind of took over LA when they played the Chargers. Like that just doesn't happen in Orchard Park. I will say, like, it wasn't that loud at Arrowhead. Really? It just, the Highmark Stadium has been louder on my camera, like my ratings and audio levels. I'm just saying.
Really?
But
what about this is a team
Steelers and the Houston second half of the 2019 playoff game that broke the camera. That was like, we got issues here. But Arrowhead, like,
one on the record that Dan broke the camera, not me.
I don't know, like, Jenna, like this Titans team. Obviously, we're recording this on Wednesday night. Julio Jones practiced, AJ Brown practiced. Like those are big. But it's got to come down to stopping Derrick Henry. And for the most part, the Bills did that last year. They still lost because they turned the ball over. Like, the Bills are, I'm not trying to be stat guy, but generally they've scored the most points. They've allowed the least amount of points. They have the best turnover differential. Like, everything is coming up roses right now for the Bills. And it's just a fact of going out and doing it again.
Yeah. I mean, the points differential is crazy. The Bills are 108, and the next closest team is the Cardinals at 62. You know what I mean? So that just goes to show the rate at which the Bills were winning. That's why I do think that game, playing that game, showing that game where they where they lost bad last year is so important, because you just have to have that edge for every game. And it's another primetime game. So, all eyes are going to be on the Bills, and we know they love being in that spot.
And these two teams are not strangers to one another. Like, they played each other in 2018. The Bills beat the Titans in Buffalo. Marcus Mariota had a wide open receiver and overthrew him. It was right in front of my face. So the Bills won they won that game 14-13, if I can remember correctly, in 2018. Then they played in 2019. That was the Duke Williams game. And then last year they got beat. So these guys aren't strangers to one another. Vrabel talked today saying that he was asked about how good the Bills defense is, and he's like, it's all the same faces. The D lines knew. The D lines knew. He's like, but it's Poyer, it's Hyde, it's Trey White, it's Edmonds. These guys are not strangers to one another, have played each other. So that adds to the chess game that McDermott and Vrabel will have to go back and forth to.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's going to be a good game. We're actually heading up to Buffalo on Thursday because practices have kind of been moved back for media members because of the game being on Monday. So we're going to be up there. I will actually be going to Nashville. I'm very excited. Mike and I will be going out there. I looked at the weather. It's not supposed to rain as of right now.
But it's early.
You could
get another lightning delay. That was fun.
Oh my gosh. I felt bad for Bills fans having to stay up that late. Not for you, but for Bills fans.
No, and it was also too I don't blame fans, but the top tier of the stadium, the 300 level, there were a lot of empty seats when they came back. I mean, it was an hour and 15-minute delay. I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I doubt Bills fans would have left a Sunday night football game, but the Bills, like I said, this is one of their primetime games. They'll get another primetime game. I realized in November they have, or early December. Yes, but early December, they get Monday night against the Patriots.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Wife was planning future things. And
okay, I was going to say. So honestly, not to sound like the Bills, but I know the bye week's next, but other than that.
I have no idea what time it is. I don't know about Bills fans. A Sunday night game. Travel all day. It was a long travel day on Monday for Mike and I. I have zero concept of day of the week and time.
Yeah, no.
Also, being in Kansas City, it's an hour back. That really messed with my brain too.
The 1 hour difference.
The 1 hour difference. Brain's broken.
Okay,
but didn't affect the Bills.
Fixed. We're trying also. Question for all of you out there. Dana and I want to try Wing Nuts. One of the wings places. Recommend what you enjoy from them if you tried them out, or any of your other favorite wing places. We always love to have a good wing place. I'm also going to do a review of Nashville hot chicken. So
shocking.
I love food. All right. I'll be at the game. Dan and I will be at practice tomorrow. We'll have a practice report coming up of what we saw. Also what the players were saying after Thursday's practice. Mike will be back with us then. For Dan, I am Jenna. Please be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe if you like our stuff. We're closing in on 10K, which is unreal and really appreciated. So we always love and appreciate all your support. So thank you so much. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Buffalo Plus channel.